All right, face and path. The final boss, we're here. Ultimately, these two numbers dictate what the ball does, how much it curves, and where it ends up in relation to our target. Okay, so I'm gonna flip these around so it makes a little bit more sense. So the simple way to view this, okay, is whatever the path is, take that number, cut it in half. And again, you can always round up or down. So we see a path here at 7.7. We'll just call that 8. We would want to see the face angle at roughly 4 to create a nice push draw. Okay, so for a draw, we want a positive path, an in to out path, and we want that face angle half of the path. Now, keep in mind here, the face here is still closed in relation to the path, but it's open in relation to the target. Okay, so this last shot here, ball ended up pretty darn close to the middle. I'll just pull up the ball flight here so you can see it. Look at that, nice little push draw there. All right, now for a fade, we want that path to be negative or out to in, right? And we want the same relationship. So let's say our path is -7, or let's call it -8 to keep it simple. We want our face to be -4. All right, so for that relationship there, for the fade, the face is open in relation to the path, but closed in relation to the target. For a dead straight shot, we would want 0, 0. That was a weird hand motion there. So I'll hit a shot here. Numbers will pop up, and we'll just kind of go over it, but that is it. If you get these two things right, if you match up path and face, the ball is going to end up towards the hole, in the hole, close to the hole, every single time with the shot shape you want. There is no better shot shape. A draw is not better than a fade's not better than a draw, but path tends to stay pretty darn consistent. So whatever you walk in with, the path is kind of like your fingerprint. It's a lot harder to change your path than it is your face. The face is going to be flying all over the place, and it doesn't take much effort to twist this thing. You can see here with my fingers, I'm twisting this thing 100 degrees open, 100 degrees closed. That took no effort. Getting the club to change directions takes a lot more effort. So as long as your path isn't something crazy, like 15 degrees out to in or in to out, just play with what you have and figure out the face. Maybe you need to twist it more, maybe you need to twist it less, maybe you need to strengthen the grip, maybe you need to weaken the grip. The feedback, the numbers will tell you what you need to do. It's so simple. So here was my draw. Let's try and hit a little tasty fade here. So I'm going to try and swing a little bit more out to in, over the top, whatever you want to call it. Hold that face off. Let's see what we got. Okay, so my path there, 7 degrees from the inside. That didn't feel right. Maybe we need to fucking fix the target here. That may help. All right, let's try that again. So we're shooting for an out to in path here. We're trying to hit a little tasty fade. We want to see a negative path. And there we go. Okay, so there's my -8.8, -9. And my face here is called that 2 degrees open. So that's really open. So this ball is going to fly way off to the right. In a perfect world, I'd want to see that face angle around -4.5. All right, so we're going to try this again, and I might try and get that path a little bit less from the outside here. Nice and chunky there. All right, so we're going to ignore that one. That one felt a little bit too closed. So there's a pull. So when the path and the face are pointing in the same direction, there's your pull there. So -5, -5. This ball is going to go straight left. So the path is fine there. My face is just a couple degrees too closed. So whether I weaken the grip or just twist it less, let's see if I can make that adjustment. One felt a little better, still probably missed a little right. Okay, so that was pretty good. So -4, -2, we're gonna see this ball have a nice little fade action on it. Boom, there we go, right there. There's our little fade. I'll hit a draw here just so you can see it. So now I'm going to try and get that club coming a little bit more from the inside. Generally, the more from the inside the club comes, the more you need to twist it shut. So you'll hear players on tour talk about them getting handsy. Generally, when their path gets too far from the inside, they've got to start feeling like they twist the face shut more, which they don't like. Whereas the closer you get to neutral, generally the less of that twisting you need. But everyone likes to feel something different. Look like a Bubba Watson loves using his hands. He loves working the ball, loves holding it off. So there's no right or wrong. It's whatever works for you. Whatever you see pop up consistently on here, that's what matters. So now we're going to go a little bit of a draw. Positive path here. Here's our 1.3. Face here was a little shut. So that positive 1 path, we'd want to see the face angle at positive 0.5. So here it's on the other end of that, a little bit too shut. So we're going to see the ball is going to end up a little bit left. Not a terrible miss. If I want this ball to curve a little bit more, let's see if we can get that path coming a little bit more from the inside. So there's 2 and there's 1. Half of 2 is 1. So this ball is going to end up pretty darn close to the middle with a little baby draw. Now another thing to note is the more from the inside the club moves, generally that's going to move low point further behind the ball. So I'm going to pull up low point here. And I'm going to try and get my path really far from the inside here without changing my setup here. So we should see that low point move further behind as the path goes more from the inside. So there we can see a 9-degree in-out path. I actually did a pretty good job of shutting that face to get the face half a path. But we can see that low point went from, I think it was like 4A before to 0.7A. So that's kind of a, when you're trying to figure out your miss, let's say you're chunking a lot of shots, you might look into your path. Your path may be a little bit too far from the inside. So getting your path a little bit more out to in or feeling a little bit more, that can also help with low points. That's just kind of another side note there. If I pull up shot tracer here, you can see there, if my face was a degree more closed, that ball would end up right in the middle. But you can still see there that 2-to-1 ratio, half of 9, 4.5. 5 is close enough. So that was a pretty nice little push draw. So on the other end of the spectrum, the more left you swing, that's going to move low point further after the ball. So I'm going to try to really swing from the outside here. And we should see that low point move further after the ball. So there's an 8.5A. You can see there, my path shifted 11 degrees from the outside, or to 11 degrees from the outside. And you can see that low point at 8.5 inches after. So that's another really cool little tool to have in the old toolbox there, is understanding how path affects low point. Now, if we're looking at shot shape here, my face angle is more or less pointing in the same direction as my path there. So where did this ball go? It went straight left. A little tiny curve on it there, and you get the idea. So that is path, that is face, that is how you get the ball to end up in the middle at the target every single motherfucking